That going. And I'll go ahead and get my screen shared. And if you haven't already, if you would please put your name and location in the chat. I think everybody has. And we'll get started. I know everybody's busy, so let's get going. Attendance and roll call we've already done, Vic, so I'll let you take it over.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got some really good news and some really bad news. So I'd like to start off with the really good news first. Looks like we're on the national radar for out of school time. And I'm going to do some screen shares if I have that ability. First off, at the local level, there's been some discussion on distribution of ESSER funds. And we're talking about approximately $11 million between after school and summer school programs. And one of the things that, we're talking about is whether they were going to open up a competition or go ahead and just distribute it to the people that are currently receiving those funds. But what was really good is the exposure for out of school time in this discussion. And the department learned a little bit more about the Iowa After School Alliance as part of a 50-state network whose mission is to support after-school programs. And here in Iowa, we provide probably a high level of support compared with other states. And we had some discussion on that. And also what I suggested is if they want to add new folks, we have the infrastructure with our committees, with our impact conference, with our webinars, that we could, open up these to new folks doing after school programs. And, this is a way to get ourselves embedded and increase awareness for out of school time because, we're doing a great job. Let me share a few things with you. And going over some data. So we're looking at data over time. Here's from 2015, and that was when the APR first started. Before that, we were in PPICS. And so, we don't have that data, but this shows you we're the blue line and the national average is the yellow. And we made a big increase, from 2017. And then you can see that during the pandemic, that trend line started to go down. And, we all know that at our local level, we know that the kids, those achievement gaps have suffered because of the pandemic. Anyone have any questions on this? This is also in the state evaluation. It just hasn't been released yet. Okay, let me share with you reading, because that's another good one. And here's where reading really had a decline during that pandemic. You can see a noticeable, it's almost like a pyramid, where we had gone up to 70%, 87%, and then down to 52%. And that's just one of those things, when the kids are not in a regular program, how much are they really reading on their own? Probably not much. They're playing video games. And there's the, if you think you're going to teach reading with video games, there's a good indicator that it probably won't work. So, this is the kind of data that we've got, long term. And it's all available for you guys. Another thing I want to share with you that gives you a good picture is attendance. Here's a picture of everybody and the attendance, and you can see that we had a high at one time of, 16,000, and then it's gone down. You can see the decline starting in, 2020, 21, and we really took a hit. We went down to about half of the students not being in the program, and then a lot of them didn't just come back right away. There was a lot of fear and apprehension, and we're building these programs back up. But this data shows that we have been very successful, not only with getting kids in the program, but with increasing their student achievement. Now, what's interesting that in 2017 and 18, when we were serving 16,000 kids, we were actually serving the same amount of kids as the state of Missouri. And the state of Missouri gets, 2.5 times as much money as we do. However, if you look at their partnerships, they don't have anywhere near, maybe they've got 10% of ours, or not even that. And that makes a huge difference in the amount of kids we can serve. So, another thing I want to share with you. This is how after school makes a difference with youth crime. And what you want to notice here is that in 2000, when they increased our funding to $1 billion, look at what happened with youth crime. It started to decline, and it's been on that slope. Here's what we don't often hear. They had promised us $2.5 billion. Had Congress given us what they promised, this youth crime would have had even a larger decline, and we would have seen a lot more positive results from after school. So, don't forget that we were supposed to get 2.5, and they cut our funding down over 50%, and we're still making progress. About 2 million children are being served nationwide from after school. And, this is a huge reason for somebody, maybe they're not real interested in the kids, they just want to save money. This is showing the economic impact of an after-school program, because lower crime benefits the communities. Okay. Now, here's a little something that you'll be sent. It's after school's on the national radar. Iowa Senate File 560. There's going to be a work group to study programming and funding for at-risk students, including the effectiveness of current programs. Well, who's serving the at-risk students in Iowa? That's us. So hopefully we'll have good representation on this committee from folks that are actually, doing after-school programs. I mean, that could be huge for us, and that's a good thing. The National Conference of State Legislators put out this, about a week ago, and they were talking about the research shows high quality after-school programs improve students' outcomes, attendance, and social emotional learning. I've been telling you this for years. It's nice that they're finally recognizing it on, a national level. And also notice the credit to the After School Alliance as being critical. And, after-school programming has been shown to improve social and academic outcomes for students. This is great stuff. again, couldn't do it without our partners, the After School Alliance. And again, then they talk about funding for after school. Now, this is national discussion going on about funding after school programs. And notice that they say the federal funding has not kept up with inflation. So we actually, if you look at inflation, we've got a $10 million cut since our funding from 2014. So the states are talking about what can they do for, additional funding. And I think that's where this study group in Iowa is going as well. I can't, predict what's going to happen. But this is, the most positive news we've had in years, to get state funding. So this is a great thing. Let's see what else I have here. I just got so much stuff. Okay, one of my favorites. This is the work from Dr. James Heckman. He's a Nobel Prize winning economist. I mean, that's pretty good when somebody gives you a Nobel Prize for your work on economics. And he's a huge advocate of early childhood programs. And if you look at it, you get the most bang for your buck for things like Head Start. But then when you get into school age, we're right after that. And you may have read some things where they say the return on investment for after school is $3 for every dollar. And that's not correct. It's Dr. Heckman says it's $13 when you work with the younger kids. And I did some analysis and I came up with $10. And that's also based on including the cost savings from reducing youth crime. So we've got a really strong case for $10 for every dollar that's invested in after school. And I think that's, where we want to have a united front. So if you see that $3 in some literature, scratch the 3 out and put in Iowa, it's $10. So, just tons of great stuff for us here. Also, I want to share with you the one pager. This is a snapshot of our current progress in the state with after school, and it's the Iowa After School Alliance does that, and it's put into the state evaluation. And Heidi, can you send that one pager out to everyone?
Yes, absolutely. I'll do it in the
Wonderful.
summary today.
And you can see by the numbers, we've got 42 grants. Our partnerships went down. We're doing 424. We did have a high of 700, and I think we're going to go back and even exceed that in the future. And we're serving almost 10,000 kids. And, that's pretty good, but we still have a way to go on that. And it just shows you a lot of talking points. Now, we also have the entire state evaluation that's done. And in that, there's a snapshot of all your programs. So what you could do is use the one pager and use that snapshot, couple of pages, which is a summary of your local evaluation, and use it at the local level to promote your programs. So let me pull one up here for you and I can kind of show you. Okay, I'm ready to share this now. All right, this is one of our sub-grantees. And notice what we do. We include your GEPRA measures summary right at the beginning. And so this is showing the difference we're making with at-risk kids in reading that, keep in mind now, we're measuring improvement now. We're no longer measuring proficiency. And then we've also got data on attendance, and we've got data on partnerships. And that's, I think that's going to be the key in Iowa for us to get broad-based support, because, we're not just asking for money, we've also got partners, and we're building this with the whole community in mind. And so you've got the summary data here, and then we've also got some pictures that you sent us. And there's some graphs in there about attendance. There's a little thing about the effects of the pandemic, a little write-up on partnerships. And then the local objectives. So these two things are great pieces that you could share. And we're almost done with the state evaluation, but I'm happy to send it to you so that you can proofread your sections. You're going to be, making sure that we got everything correct, that the data in there is good, and plus you can easily take your little section out and be able to use that locally for discussions. Does anyone have any questions so far? Anyone excited about this? Yep. For those of you that have been around for a while, it's been like, we were the forgotten stepchild.
I saw that, Aaron.
So
like excited, no, but I see the purpose of it, so that makes me excited, because then it means we get more funding our way. So it's like, but I see the big picture of it.
absolutely. So I've sent Heidi 4 documents that you guys can use. Some of them are like national reports about out of school time, and they're having national discussions right now. So that's just terrific news, going forward. So the really bad news. We've had since last year, we've had 3 directors at the department. And with the previous director, I got started with the contract. Then they left before approving anything, and then they got a new director who's kind of overwhelmed. And right as of now, the Iowa After School Alliance contract will expire on Monday. And what does that mean? Number one, the grant competition will also be on hold, because I can't do that without the Iowa After School Alliance. A lot of the things the After School Alliance does, like these meetings and things like that, will have to be put on hold. So, it is what it is. I've been sending out an emergency amendment to try to get this stuff covered. We gotta get our work, keep our work going, because we're dealing with the kids in need, but it's been a challenge. I mean, I've also been doing your Title 1A approvals in the payment system, because if I didn't do that, a lot of folks wouldn't get paid. So, I've been working with Des Moines, and, I think just about everybody here, I have approved your Title I claims as well as your 21st century claims. It's just been difficult at the department because we're short-staffed. So hopefully we'll get an emergency amendment passed and the Iowa After School Alliance work can continue unimpeded. Let's go back to the agenda.
I got a question. So does that mean the conference is on hold in September?
Well, your fees actually pay for a lot of that in the conference. I don't think it would be on hold. If that happens where that's in jeopardy, we'll certainly let you know.
We're going to continue to work on it, Aaron. So I'll let you know if anything changes.
I know you guys stay on top of it. We appreciate it.
And, a lot of that work has already been done for the conference, where things like on the application, that's new work that we normally do in August.
One thing you can do, though, to help us with that is register.
Okay, I've seen some people emailing me about your summer program, and make sure you let me know, especially if there's a location change, because you don't want to get yourself into trouble. Sending me an email updating me on location changes is always a good idea. And yes, I would agree. Yep, you should register for the Iowa After School Alliance Conference. And we've got a terrific keynote. Coach D, he's been around for years. He's the author of several books, and he really understands after-school programs. So, this will be, it's really good to have somebody, and he's a dynamic speaker too, so it should be great.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'd just like to add, we have a lot of new speakers coming this year too, and a nice mix of new and local. So if you've been before, don't think that you've already been there, seen that, done it. It will be different. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to say, but it just flew my mind. Well, I know what it is. Next week, Friday, is a professional development committee meeting. Whether you're on that committee or not, you're welcome to join us, because I will be sharing kind of a sneak peek of the agenda and conference sessions. So if you don't want to wait and you want to come in and take a look at what's coming, you could join us at that meeting.
Okay, some more bad news. Youth for Youth will not be joining us this fall. I just got an email back from them. They didn't get their contract renewed at Foundations that handles that. And so, they can't send anyone to our conference. So I guess the feds are in the same predicament that we're in. But we're going to have more local speakers. Even though they're, we've been doing this for years with them, sometimes that happens with the contract. So you can always get the same content if you sign up online for Youth for Youth, because a lot of these sessions that they would deliver in person are available completely online and free of charge. So I highly recommend that you go to that website and you can get the information. And Heidi, why don't you talk about that survey?
Yes, I'd love to. Okay, so outside of our 21st century contract, the Iowa After School Alliance is conducting a state of after school survey, which I'm sure you've heard me talk about. You have probably received an email asking you to take the survey. If you haven't, please do it. know that it is not, you know, coming from somebody that you don't know. This is literally me and my research, and everybody that takes the survey is helping me directly. So if you would take 7 or 8 minutes, please, to take that survey and share it with folks in your network that also provide programming for kids. It's not just 21st Century, it's all programming for students, all after school and summer programming in the state of Iowa. And I would very, very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Did we finish the agenda?
We did.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send to Heidi the link for the state evaluation for you guys to proofread your own sections. And it's a big document. It's 192 pages, so it's not going to come as an attachment in email. You're going to have to go to the Google Drive and download it and in order to look at it. And it's not formatted yet, because that piece is something the Alliance does for us. They format it and, you know, make it 508 compliance. And so we're not ready to publish it, but that's, you know, you guys, I'm asking you to do a little proofreading before we get ready to publish it. So hopefully, you know, we can publish it in time for the conference. Anyone have any questions of what we talked about so far?
I think I'll stop the recording then, if that's okay, Vic.
Sure.